What is up, Top Shot Nation? Very excited for this one. We're going to be breaking down all of the new base set moments that are making it into the Series 3 base set release 5 drop happening on Thursday. This is going to be a big one because we have the number one pick, Cade Cunningham, making his Top Shot debut in the set. We'll be breaking down his and a bunch of other great moments that are making the platform for the first time. I'll be joined today by my right-hand man, Austin Kent, our content lead, who helps source all of these plays. Austin, how are you doing, man?
Doing great. It's been just an awesome week in the NBA. It's been fun to be a fan, and just super excited to go through some of these moments that we'll be seeing in the base set.
Awesome. Well, we've got a good 19 new moments hitting the platform. As I mentioned, Cade, we're going to save him for last, best for last. But we've got a lot of other great ones, including some moments from star players and some other great rookies. And yeah, I think without further ado, let's just jump right into it. And let's start off with a guy that made the NBA Finals last year in Payne with his Series 3 first common moment of the season. And here we see some like NBA Street game breaker stuff going on.
I love the spin. I love just the awkward reach on that long layup. Payne has been so fun to watch in Phoenix. Just to see him, kind of rewrite his own narrative and really establish himself as quite a valuable rotation piece. I think the Suns are happy to have him, and I'm happy to be able to, just see him get there after so many years of teasing that, but bouncing around. So I'm a big Payne fan, and I love just seeing him split through the defense like this.
Next up, we've got another explosive young guard in the league who's playing some really strong basketball off the bench for the Sacramento Kings. We've got Terence Davis.
I love this. I love this awkward play. I embrace the chaos, and for Terence Davis to have the wherewithal to sort of capitalize on a loose ball and just leap into the air to swat it up for a nice dime to Tyrese Halliburton. That was certainly one you don't see every day, and I was happy to be able to get that into the product. But Terence Davis has really, taking this game to a new level. Like, he got 23 points in this game. He's definitely capable of just sort of, really taking a lot of weight on the offensive end. He followed it up with 28 points the next night. So it's always interesting to see, players develop in Sacramento. And Terence Davis is one of those players that, anytime he's out on the court, you don't know what you're going to get. And that's kind of fun.
Yeah, of course, Terence Davis made all-rookie second team just 2 seasons ago. And yeah, certainly brimming with potential. What we see on this play, it's almost like, I don't know if you played taps growing up, but like the whole idea of trying to alley-oop a ball in the air and pass it to someone else. He gets the steal and the assist all in the same touch of the basketball. So pretty impressive stuff. Good on you. Next moment, we've got Jaren Jackson, and this is what makes Jaren Jackson such a special player. Just everything that goes into this play. You want to break it down for us, Austin?
Yeah, Jaren Jackson has been so tantalizing his whole career, just like the unicorn's unicorn. To see how fluidly he's able to, not only read the defense, but then put the ball on the floor, just to, cut his way into the paint with ease and throw it down. It's been fun watching Jackson Jr., play like a full season and with Memphis, such an intriguing young team. And he's such a big part of that. I hope people don't forget that after, an injury shortened season last year. We've seen a lot of great plays from Jaren Jackson so far this year. And I'm very excited to be able to just have a whole year where we can use him in the product.
They've been on fire of late without superstar Ja Morant, currently vying for home court advantage. Obviously, very, very early in the season, but you gotta like what you see if you're a Grizzlies fan after Jackson gets the big extension in the offseason. And here you see it, right? Like Fred VanVleet chasing him on the perimeter because Jackson can shoot from around 40% from deep, and just the dexterity to drive with his left hand, get to the paint, finish athletically at the rim. And let's not even mention how good a rim protector he is. He kind of does it all. So definitely one of the more promising young bigs in the entire NBA. I'll be curious to see him as he continues to ascend with Memphis. From one Jackson to the next, we've got our first moment of the season from Frank Jackson, former Dookie. Now he's on your Detroit Pistons. What have you seen from him so far this season?
Yeah, just a total spark plug that isn't afraid to, take over on offense. And this game he finished with 17 points, and that's something that Frank Jackson does. If it's the right night, the right opportunity, he's going to get you 17. He's going to get you 20 points. I love how hard he has to battle to get this break, and then just shows off those nice surprising hops that shouldn't be so surprising anymore. But anytime you see somebody Frank Jackson's frame throw it down like that, it is kind of catch you off guard. But that's right in Frank Jackson's bag, and it's fun to see.
Absolutely. Moving ahead here, we've got Deni Avdija, his first moment in the base set. And Deni's always played with some passion. Here we see after the dunk a little stare down of the crowd. The sophomore certainly not afraid to ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, I love to see it. Avdija can do a little bit of everything on the floor, but in this case, being able to drive baseline and throw down a nice, tough slam was definitely something that caught my eye.
Next up, we've got a guy that coming into the season pretty anonymous, but Max Strus with the Miami Heat has really blossomed and plays like this. He just is such a good off-ball mover, cuts the rim, athletic. What have you seen from him so far this year?
He's just this player that does all the intangible things, the little things, and that makes him such a perfect fit for this Miami Heat squad. We've seen him, kind of flex his muscle in a few different ways so far this season as he really emerges as, a piece of the rotation. I love the acrobatic up and under finish. And it's just so fun to see a franchise that does this over and over again, that just brings the absolute most out of their players. To be able to see it on display in a play like this is good.
Yeah, I like a lot of stuff about this moment. If we watch it one more time, we've got Martin, who's been just a fantastic fit for them, coming in right away and adding athleticism and two-way kind of versatility to Miami. Then we have Struss at the rim, avoiding Evan Mobley, who's arguably one of the 4 or 5 most intimidating rim protectors the entire league has right now as a 19-year-old. So just a lot in this moment that is a nice kind of keepsake for years to come if you're a Miami Heat fan and a fan of this specific incarnation of the Heat. Moving ahead here, we've got Josh Okogie, who is definitely in the running for most athletic player in Minnesota, and they've got a lot of good athletes on that team.
Yeah. Speaking of that athleticism, like he kind of gets beat on the closeout there. And not many players in that situation can recover as nice as this. And to cap it off with a nice emphatic swat. Okogie's just a fun player to watch. He's got that athleticism, like you say, and that grit. He's not going to give up on a play. And it turned out in a fun way for Timberwolves fans, I guess, on this one.
And as a big fan of Justin Holiday in general, including his time with the Knicks, don't see him taking it off the dribble too much. And here, Josh Okogie makes him think twice about doing it next time against him. Moving ahead from Josh Okogie to Isaac Okoro. Isaac Okoro, this might be the moment of the release. This could have easily been in throwdowns or a rare legendary tier, just the emphatic dunk at the rim. Did you have to do a double take when you saw this for the first time? Because I certainly did.
Yeah, anytime you see a dunk as powerful as this sort of throwdowns radar starts ticking. And Okogie, or sorry, not Okogie, Isaac Okoro throws down hammers. He does it. It's what he does. He did it in Summer League in the fandom tier. He's such a fun player to watch. It is always tough to kind of really narrow down which play can be used where. But because we know Isaac Okoro is just, such a powerful dunker, I wouldn't be surprised if he manages to even one-up this over the course of the season, because that's how ferocious he is when he drives into the paint. But definitely throwdowns-esque for Moses Brown, I believe that is. It's always fun to see.
Yeah, and obviously the Cavs have been one of the surprise darlings of the early season, and they're doing it without Colin Sexton, and a large reason why they've been able to overcome that injury, on top of the fact that Evan Mobley is looking like a front runner for Rookie of the Year, and Ricky Rubio and Kevin Love look like they found the fountain of youth this year. Isaac Okoro just slotting right into the guard spot, playing alongside Darius Garland, providing tremendous defensive versatility. Him and Evan Mobley together on the defensive end alone makes you at least an average defense. And so it's been really cool to see this team kind of surprise and impress. And Okoro certainly a big part of that. Speaking of, we just had Justin Holiday on the Okogie play. Well, now we have a play that Justin Holiday can be proud of. What did we see with this one?
A beautiful backdoor cut is always fun to see, but I love the fact how he goes up for the slam, sees Giannis there, and manages to just subtly, spin it into a reverse. That's not just anybody coming at you to, slot that attempt. That's former defensive player of the year, Giannis. If anybody's going to make you eat it, it's going to be him. So a very skillful maneuver from Holiday there. It's always fun to see when he does take it to the rack.
Yeah, and I think the inside baseball part of me, as Justin Holiday lands here, look who's right behind him, his little brother Drew. So you get something great out of this moment, some brother on brother crime, as you mentioned. Seeing Giannis try to reach you at the summit, just do a little nifty reverse dunk instead. And this is Sabonis at his best, just finding people off ball with backdoor cuts. Moving ahead here, we've got Taurean Prince, and this was arguably the most clutch bucket of any of the moments that are making it into this drop. Obviously, this game was heated throughout. Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid have a history of going at each other, and Taurean Prince at the end of the game coming through at the last minute. What were you watching this, and then what were you kind of thinking when this happened?
I was watching the NBA Twitter buzz when this game was going on, and then it just kept going. It was heated at the end of regulation, and then it was heated in overtime, and then it was heated in double overtime. And eventually, Taurean Prince just said, "Enough is enough. I'm going to take this to the rack and finish this game." It wasn't tied when he got this bucket. The Sixers were up by 1. So this layup with 4 seconds on the clock actually put the Timberwolves ahead. So it's a fun little clutch bucket from a player that is kind of just known for doing a little bit of everything for his teams. But
yeah, and doing it against Joel Embiid, no less, at the rim, that takes guts. So good on you, Taurean Prince. Moving ahead to Montrezl Harrell, who has been just a total revelation. We know that Montrezl Harrell has this in his bag. He won 6th Man of the Year. Played with the Lakers, didn't have necessarily the success with the Lakers that he was hoping for, but in Washington, he looks like a player renewed, invigorated, and here you see him at the rim just going up way high and down hard.
Yeah, Montrezl Harrell certainly knows how to throw it down viciously. I love the rim hang on this one. 20 points for Harrell. He's just done it over and over again for the Wizards. Such a great addition, like you said. It's just fun to see him get that opportunity, right? After such a weird year, with the Lakers. But I'm a big fan of Harrell, and I love watching what he's bringing to this Wizards team.
Absolutely, and got to shout out Howell Neto with a nice little behind the back pass on that moment as well. All right, moving ahead from one of the most ferocious dunkers in the league in Harrell to one of the most impressive dunkers in the league in Aaron Gordon. And here we've got Gordon with his first dunk of Series 3, going baseline, throwing it down. We had a moment similar to this with Obi Toppin on Goba Bidatse in the last release, but here we see Gordon go one-handed and down hard.
I think that's such a great way to view Aaron Gordon. He's just such an impressive dunker. He's one of those people who could have a top shot moment every game, just because everything he does, it's just, he's one of very few people that could ever pull it off. I love the ground he covers horizontally in the air here, tucking the ball away from the rim protector just to put on the other side of the basket. it's fun watching Aaron Gordon. We've got lots of great stuff from Aaron Gordon, and this was one that stood out to me as a particularly fun play. So happy to get it in the base set.
Yeah, when Jamal Murray comes back and hopefully Michael Porter Jr. has a speedy recovery, Aaron Gordon's almost like the perfect fourth wheel for that big three with Jokic, Murray, and Porter, just because he's selfless, defends at a really high level, and offers a ton of size to a big, big front court that's obviously spearheaded by the MVP. But yeah, can I also just say that I'm pretty sure that this incarnation of the Nuggets jerseys, the blue alternates with the yellow font and the red trim, that's my favorite jersey in the league. I'm a primary color guy, and they're just beautiful.
I love it. No, definitely a great fit for this team.
Moving ahead, we've got our first Top Shot debut in the release, and this one from Kelan Martin of the Pacers. What do you see with this one?
I love being able to recognize players that are really stepping up, and Martin has snuck into this Pacers rotation. 13 points in this game. Obviously, not like a 3-star rookie or anything, but definitely a Top Shot debut. And he's done it a couple times. Like he's broken double digits, I think 4 or 5 times for the Pacers just recently. And to see that, kind of summarized in a nice little crossover step back, just so smooth like that. It's been fun to watch him, and I'm excited to see like what comes next as he sort of continues to establish himself on a team that's very much establishing themselves. So it'll be a fun storyline to watch over the course of the year.
Yeah, when I watch this move, there's one player from history that comes to mind for me, and it's Devin Harris. This is what I call the Devin Harris. The through the legs step back, just perfect fluidity, nice swish on the back end. That's just Devin Harris would be proud of this one. Moving ahead here, we've got some LE moments making it into this release. These are all numbered to 9,999. And we're going to start with, we mentioned the Grizzlies off to a hot start. This guy is kind of the heart and soul of the Grizzlies. Dillon Brooks, pride of Canada. What did you see with this one?
Dillon Brooks is just one of the most fascinating players to watch in the NBA. His energy, his ambition, like what he tries to pull off and is often successful. It's just what a great attitude, fun team. So Dillon Brooks is from Mississauga, which is right outside of Toronto. To be able to get a play where he's, right there in his hometown was fun to see. And he's just so good, 17 points in this one, kind of right in line with his season averages. He did that last year. I think Brooks is so underrated. But my favorite thing about Dillon Brooks is just like his feistiness and his attitude. And just, to me, he's such an awesome leader for that young team. And it's great to see it.
Yeah, you mentioned it, feistiness. That's a great adjective for him. And I love that he's now at least giving his opponent the courtesy of wearing sleeves on both arms, because the guy is known for throwing bows. And we even see it on this moment a little bit as he's posting up on Fred VanVleet. There's a little bit of a hook there. I'm not going to call it if I'm the ref, but like this is what Dillon Brooks does to you every single time down the court. The guy is physical, and he's not afraid to use his strength. So perfect encapsulation of a Dillon Brooks moment right here. Moving ahead from Dillon Brooks to the guy that was defending Dillon Brooks on the play, Fred VanVleet, another 9,999 moment making it into this release. And here's Fred VanVleet just kind of putting the defenders on skates, driving through fearlessly, tough, awkward finish, righty scoop. This is what he does.
Yeah, that's a scorer's bucket right there. He'll find a way to put the ball in the net. I love watching Fred VanVleet. The Raptors, of course, it's a big change for them not having Kyle Lowry, and Fred VanVleet, I think, is such a great leader to have on the team to, sort of say, I got this. 29 points in this game, which is not something that he is new to him. Like, he's certainly a great scorer, but to get a win over the defending champs, at home, I love to see VanVleet carry this team, and love to see what the Raptors really are capable of I think they're exceeding so much expectations.
Now, we've got a lot of great players in this release, but I don't know if any of them are surefire Hall of Famers, save for this guy, Russell Westbrook, Mr. Triple Double, his first base set moment as a Laker. And this is just what he does. He's been doing it for over a decade now, throwing it down one handed, just using sheer athleticism and speed. Before Jeremy Grant even realizes it, Russell Westbrook's gone.
Yeah, he's so explosive. He's always been so explosive. A subtle move out on the perimeter, and then pretty much it's like a straight shot where all he has to do is just run faster than everybody else on the court. Westbrook's just so good with that sort of quick gather into a one-handed throwdown. But even though like Jallo got beat on the play, like he didn't give up on the play. He was gunning for the block. And he might have gotten it against most players, but not against Westbrook, who's going to throw it down pretty hard. But it's just been fun to watch Westbrook slowly come into his own in the new situation in LA. It's always a fun transition to observe.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I remember, other than maybe Iguodala and the LeBron block on Iguodala, I can't really remember a more athletic combo of two guys leaping at the exact same time as we see here between Westbrook and Diallo. Hell of a thumbnail on this one too. Really nicely done by you and the team for this.
Yeah. Props to the photographer that caught that one.
Moving ahead, we've got 3 rookies to close out the new moments making this release. Of course, these aren't the only moments you'll see in these packs. We'll have moments from releases 1 through 4 make it into these packs, which means you're going to have your chance at superstar rookies, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Chris Duarte, Franz Wagner, Alperen Sengun. And we're going to get to 3 more here. And let's start with, I used to know him as BJ Boston. When I was in my scouting days, BJ Boston, one of the best teenagers to come out of the country in years. Now Brandon Boston with the Clippers in his debut game, first career bucket. Hell of a shot.
Yeah, what a smooth first bucket. When we were going through rookies to include in this drop, I noticed that Boston was starting to get some more opportunities, recently in the last month or so. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's get Brandon Boston into the product. Little did I know that, days after making that the decision, he'd have the game of his young career. I think, what was it, 27 points in 25 minutes the other night? Just completely took over. To be able to pull that off, to have the confidence to pull that off as a first-year player is always fun to see. So I'm excited to see what else is in store for the 51st overall pick. If you're already producing for a team like the Clippers, that's a good bargain at that pick range.
Absolutely. I feel like it's only a matter of time before someone like Bill Simmons gets this jersey and frames it in his office, just as like a season ticket owner of the Clippers and obviously the Boston sports guy. Moving ahead here, Santi Aldama, not the most known of the rookies, but he's been effective with the Grizzlies. And, I think you have the stat. What was his plus minus in the game against the Thunder last week?
Yeah, that absolutely crushing defeat over the Thunder. What was it, a 74-point differential or whatever? But the individual who led that game in plus minus out of everybody in the game was Santi Aldama at plus 52. Absolutely absurd. But 7 points in his first NBA game. That's what this play is from. 3-star rookie. And it'll be interesting to see, like so many other young players on the Grizzlies. I think he's in such a great position to maximize whatever he's capable of. He's in a great position to maximize that. So happy to get him into the product, and excited to see what comes next. Is it a plus 53 performance? Maybe.
Yeah, the sky's the limit when you're on this Grizzlies upstart team. Last, but certainly not least, and I'd actually argue best, we've got Cade Cunningham, his 3-star rookie, his first career bucket in the NBA, and it was a confident one at that.
Yeah, it's a nice, hard dive, and for his only field goal in his debut. Finished with 2 points, 7 boards, and 2 assists. Cade got off to a slow start this year. Obviously, he missed training camp, and then he missed maybe the first 10 days, 2 weeks of the season. And it was a bit of a slow burn early on for him. But one thing you could tell straight out of the gates, and you're seeing more and more lately, is just that he's so capable of just such a large role, like franchise player role. And especially lately, like I think his averages are like 15, 6 and 6. It's, pretty solid averages. And he's stepping up as the guy in Detroit. Obviously so many people expect that to be the case, but when you actually put a young player in that situation, it does take time to develop. So it's fun to see that. And it's fun to be able to, as we look forward in our mind, what Cunningham can turn into. It's nice to get that first bucket in the Top Shot.
Yeah, he's been on a much steadier course of recent weeks. He's putting together some strong games. You mentioned the 15, 6 and 6. I see a lot of young Gordon Hayward vibes with him. Just very capable on ball, off ball. Can probably play on the wing, but is at his best with the ball in his hands, creating for his teammates. We'll see. Obviously, there have been comps to the likes of, I think the more outrageous side, I've heard comps to Jason Tatum, which I don't exactly see. I've heard the Penny Hardaway comps. I like those to a degree, but Hayward's my guy. If I had to put a guess on where Cade Cunningham's going to be in a few years, it's, All-Star. Gordon Hayward made the All-Star game, I think twice with the Jazz, and that's kind of where I see Cade kind of nesting out with the Pistons.
It'll be interesting to see. I've heard everything. I've heard everything from Luka to Ben Simmons, and I'm just excited to see the first Cade. The Pistons fans are so eager to just have a player that they can support and stand by for, 10, 15 years. And it's a good time to be a Pistons fan. Awesome. Not so much in the win column, but
that's true. Yeah. I mean, hey, look, anything to get another running mate with Cade wouldn't hurt. Now I can't help but notice we've got some NBA Jam on in the background. Nicely done, sprucing up the office.
Yep.
Tell the Top Shot community, who is your NBA Jam team?
Oh gosh. Okay. I've got a couple that I bounce between. I've always been just so drawn to any like Derek Coleman combo. Usually it's Coleman and Petrovic. It's the power. Anybody that's got the power to push people and get those steals, that's got some range, and they can block shots. So Derek Coleman, big Nets fan. Number 1 team used in this location is the New Jersey Nets.
You're also a lefty, so let's be honest. There's some lefty on lefty love there.
And number 2 team is the Sacramento Kings, because I like me some Mitch Richmond. I can shoot threes with Mitch Richmond all day. I'm a simple man with simple pleasures, and shooting threes with Mitch is one of those. What's your team?
I liked playing with Run TMC Warriors, so I guess this may have been slightly after Mitch left the team, but the Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin dynamic was always just can't get much better than that. I was a speed and shooting guy, so that's where we.
Apparently I haven't figured it out yet, but they say you can play online on this thing. So I'm going to put in like a requisition to get a machine in your background so that we can play against each other.
There you have it. Thanks for watching with us. Again, 19 awesome moments. Austin, just hat tip to you. The moments that are making it into the platform for Series 3 are just top notch. And again, community, these are just the commons. Just wait until we see the rares and the legendaries. Series 3 is shaping up beautifully. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, Austin, to break down these moments with us. And until next time, community, happy collecting. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date for all of the latest and greatest in all things NBA Top Shot.